riding through this world in my glove. Together we roll, never alone. Still to this train, the perfect life. Gonna make you laugh, time after time. Rolling with my glove.
Remember, none of this is possible without you. Join the fight and sign up for Mug Club today at louderwithcrowder.com/Mug Club for $89 annually. Join the fight at louderwithcrowder.com/Mug Club today.
All right, Mug Club and all of you other people. I know what you're thinking right now. Don't leave. It's okay. Everything's going to be fine. We're going to have a fantastic time here. I have other people in the studio that are going to make sure of that. But look what we did to the set here. We've got all the Christmas stuff up. We've got I don't know why we have the one thing like right here. It's always like that every single year. Is that supposed to be like a nod
Charlie
to
Brown Christmas?
Yeah, Charlie Brown. Okay, that makes sense. I guess that makes some sense. I guess. By the way, before you say it, another Rumble Things Out of Focus. It's called Depth of Field. I mean, come on. A little inside joke.
I had to explain that to you.
Now you're going to have to explain. People are going to be asking you like, hey, Tollman.
I'll do it on Twitter.
Okay, there you go. Fantastic. All right. Well, look, we have a fantastic show. This is our last show before Thanksgiving. And so we talked a little bit about some of the Thanksgiving food and traditions that we all had yesterday. But we're going to do Chat Tuesday today for Mug Club. And we also have a story that there's no way that we could cover on this. But let me go through the rest of the rundown for today's show. So we have a This Week in Biden for you because he tends to say really stupid things almost every single week. Really, we could do this segment every week, but we choose not to do that to you. Also, Napoleon the movie is premiering, I guess, tomorrow. And so we're going to talk about their revolution versus our revolution, and their revolution sucks compared to ours, and just letting you know why. Also, Elon Musk is being accused of being an anti-Semite, and he went a bit nuclear, his words, thermonuclear. Yeah. Which I didn't think was necessary to say it like that, but he did. So fine, you're Elon Musk. I guess you can do it. But he dropped a lawsuit last night, I believe, or yesterday afternoon, and a number of people joined him. And I think the tide is turning. And do me a favor. That's my question of the day for you right now. Do you think the tide is turning with all of the, I guess, free speech platforms and groups, and really with some of the attorneys general, and that's how you say the plural of attorneys general, they're chiming in as well. So far, I think we have Texas, maybe some other ones hinting that they're going to join this. Do you think the tide is turning finally on corrupt media, not just not doing a good job of reporting, but actively trying to take out free speech advocates? Comment and let me know what you think. But when you hear one of the best... Which one? Yeah, let's go that way first. Yeah, so one of the best songs ever, if you're a game fan. There we go. You know that Ginger Snap, Mr. Lane the Brain, is sitting in my chair. How are you, sir?
Good. Loving the new camera angles over here. Loving the vibes, the studio. It's a good mood.
It's not. You don't have the fisheye lens anymore over there. So
I already have a very bulbous forehead, so it really wasn't doing me any favors.
Is that why you would always slouch over there? You're like, I just want to be as far away from the camera as possible. Okay, that makes sense.
We're good.
All right, fantastic. Well, and if you hear this music, you know Mr. Josh Firestine.
Hey, what's up, boys?
How are you?
Good.
Doing well? You ready for some mashed potatoes?
Oh, yeah. I've been prepping all week. I haven't eaten a potato in 6 days.
Really?
Yeah.
That's... Why? You just want it to be amazing.
What's a normal potato interval for you?
Oh, yeah, like 3 hours probably.
Oh, nice.
You said mashed potatoes were your favorite, right?
I love mashed. It's my favorite Thanksgiving food. Perfect. It's the best. It's perfect, yes.
You can have it all the time, though.
Especially if you go to somebody else's place and they're cooking the meat.
Yeah.
Don't trust it.
Just bring the mashed potatoes?
Yeah, bring your own taters.
BYOT, got it.
BYOT and G.
Nice.
Gotta
Well, look,
bring that gravy.
You like mashed potatoes. So look, if you're in the Tacoma, Washington area and you want to come out to the Comedy Club on Wednesday, November 22nd, Josh has a free show. Do me a favor. Bring him some mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
Yes, bring some mashed potatoes.
I don't know if you should do that, though. That maybe have somebody else try them first.
There's like 4 or 5 other comedians on the show, and they would love that too, I'm sure.
They would?
Oh, yeah.
What if somebody poisons it?
Yeah.
Well, Zach Summerfield's on the show, and I could deal with that.
Maybe don't bring them. They're not very portable. Like, yeah.
They're portable.
Savage.
Yeah,
Just put them in one of the. No,
I'm not bringing your Tupperware back to you, though. All right.
No, this is we're throwing Tupperware away at this point, right? No, but you can put them in one of those like things that holds the heat in that restaurants give you. The to-go containers that have like the foil look to them. I don't know. Maybe that's the best way to do it.
Just have those stashed away in their kitchen, I think.
They do, I think. I mean, you just whatever. You'll figure it out.
Hey, Ginger Snap looks good. You look good with the light behind you and whatever that thing is next to you. I don't know what that is.
Depth of field?
Yeah, it's out of focus behind him. So you have to do that, by the way.
Depth of field.
I'm not sure if you're aware.
Looking like Macaulay Vulcan over there. I love
one of the first things that I did was
Macaulay Culkin.
Macaulay Vulcan.
Vulcan.
I don't know if I like either of those things.
I don't know that it matters. One of the first things that I did, though, was I gave Toolman a hard time. I'm like, hey, Tim, the rumble sign's out of focus. And he goes, yes, Gerald. I know.
Because if we're to be in focus, you would.
But I'm the CEO. Can we make it in focus? He's like, that's not how it works. It doesn't matter that you're CEO. And I was like, oh, fine. I was like, hey, maybe we can one day have everything in focus money. I don't know. Yeah. We'll see. And then he's like, well, actually, this looks better. And I said, oh, fine. You do your job and I'll do poorly mine.
The CEO stuff.
So that's why I had to lead the show. And by the way, I do have a cough drop in my mouth. So if you hear that every once in a while, I apologize. I'm still recovering. My
I thought it was a dip. I thought you had a Copenhagen in there.
No, man, I ain't dipping.
Little long cut.
I ain't doing that. A bunch of my friends did in high school, and I just saw one of my buddies. This was the last time he dipped. Just sprinting in. We're sitting in the restaurant, and he's running from the back parking lot around. He had swallowed his dip on accident, and he was sprinting towards the toilet to vomit so that he could eat. That's gross. That's a great way.
I wouldn't even eat at that point. Oh, God.
Oh, he was. He was
Yakuza's losing it. Yakuza.
I don't want to talk about it.
Don't you do it.
I'm getting hot mouth.
All right. So if you dip, don't swallow it. Doesn't turn out well.
One time at a party, I drank. I thought I was drinking whiskey. It was a dip spinner.
Oh, it was a dip spinner.
It was the worst.
Yeah.
I can't drink whiskey now.
No, you can't do that. I can't drink dip spin anymore,
That's
man.
like baby out with the bathwater.
Yeah.
Gross. All right. Well, since it is Thanksgiving on Thursday, and we're very thankful here at Louder with Crowder, we're thankful for you. We're thankful for our Mug Club audience and the ability to have crazy people have a voice. We don't want to cancel them, but we do want to point them out and make fun of them. And here's a woman on TikTok claiming that Thanksgiving is racist.
If you are thinking about not celebrating Thanksgiving for the very first time this year, hi, welcome. I've never celebrated Thanksgiving. I don't think that younger people under 25 know that in our schools, every single November, we dressed up as pilgrims and Indians and sat around and had a Thanksgiving feast.
No, you didn't.
Bombastic side eye.
Why bombastic?
Anyway, so that shit is obviously not happening anymore. It's a lie.
Nope, we won. They lost.
Instead, we talk about with our children. We talk about Indigenous people, and I'm so glad my oldest son's school. All they do all month of November is talk about Indigenous peoples and their stories. I don't
math
even like
or
to
science.
Like, oh, this is what I'm thankful for. This is what I'm grateful for. Like, it's a little too close to the faux holiday of Thanksgiving for me.
That's
maybe I am pro censorship. I don't know. I'm changing my mind every single day. Bro,
that's sad.
You sit around and talk about Indigenous people and their stories.
Yeah.
That's great.
I noticed you didn't say we sit around and talk about Indigenous peoples and their contributions to society, their inventions, their leaders that changed the world. No, you talk about their stories and look, fine, I have respect for people who were on this land, and I don't hate any people group that were here. I just think that we won. And we took the land. Now, if you want to get mad at us for not honoring an agreement or something like that, fine, we can talk about that. But it was such a long time ago. Who has the time?
To be fair, Indigenous studies is fun. It's fun to learn about how the Comanches raped and pillaged and wiped out the Apaches.
The Apaches,
totally.
yes.
Probably my favorite part of Indigenous.
I think so, too, how they were just kind of fighting each other the entire time and doing it in completely barbaric ways. Didn't even domesticate the horse. Gosh, wheels were around and were a thing.
It's a failed civilization.
It
We're gonna
really is.
bootlick them rather than
Which
spend time with our
civilization?
family.
Though?
Yeah.
There was like 7,200.
It is a failed group of civilizations. They all failed equally,
Not
and
the
that's
Seminoles.
fantastic.
Seminoles were pretty nice.
Seminoles were cool.
Yeah, they were badass.
we don't know. Pocahontas, I guess it was fine. Everything was fine until you guys decided to be jerks. I'm
She
just
wasn't
saying.
hot though.
No, she was ugly. That's why everybody said she was hot. Totally.
She looked like a
Why there was-
bumblebee.
Yeah, exactly.
There's real pictures of her. She was busted.
She's a babe.
She was busted.
Yeah, she was busted.
I don't even know what to think
was
about the
mid
words
AF.
that are coming out of that man's mouth over there.
See if we can find a picture.
Yeah. So, by the way,
What
if
did John Smith look like? Was John Smith a killer, a
He
handsome
was a
dude?
Chad.
he was
Chad
probably
AF,
yeah.
Okay.
Jeez, he just knows too many of those like Gen Z words. Mm-hmm. I don't even want to get into that game. But
Yeah,
look,
I know him too,
We're,
for sure.
we're going to talk about a number of things, including some things about Pocahontas that are not very flattering. Let me tell you that. And we might have to hit this little thing right. Yeah. So if you see this, just head on over to Rumble. I don't know why you're on YouTube anyway. It shouldn't be a thing at this point. We've given you, 2 years to kind of figure this out, but we love Rumble, and we're going to get into some stuff about Rumble and X and True Social and all kinds of great stuff. But before we do that, it's always fun to get to make fun of Joe Biden. We had to actually cut a few things out of this because there were too many things that we could say, but he had a really busy week in San Francisco kowtowing to Xi and running out of meetings so that he could go to the restroom. That's always fun. But he pardoned some turkeys and, made some mistakes there as well. So that brings us to This Week in Biden.
If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump and you ain't black.
1,000 miles. You could say even this harder than getting a ticket to the Renaissance tour or Britney's tour. She's down in. It's kind of warm in Brazil right now.
Look,
We had dinner last
Side
night.
lady.
I told you, you sat next to my wife, you were so captivating. I was worried she liked you more than she likes me now. I don't know.
Catherine, what a beautiful name. That's my mommy's name. Well, nice to see. How old are you, 17? 6. If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump and you ain't black.
Biden also said, well, that's too many for me. Also,
What are you doing later?
yeah.
You gonna come to my hotel room?
Got sprinkles.
I thought 17 sounded pretty good. Yeah.
That's
let's
legal
do
in
that.
like 13 states.
At least, right? He's just so weird. Like, we were talking about it. It looked like a sweet grandpa moment for a second, but with Joe Biden, nothing's a sweet anything moment, right? And he's like, she's got ear things on, and that's fantastic. He's like, how old are you, 17? Yeah, because I want to talk about dating with a 6-year-old. I don't understand. I don't have a chip in my brain for where he goes with his creepy conversations, other than his brain is no longer able to, with like these lucid thoughts, to go, ooh, can't say that out loud. And now it just all comes out because he's so old and senile. And you're like, wow, that's the real Joe Biden coming out every single day. I think that's what's really going on. By the way, because, he's really old, he had a birthday cake yesterday that had the flames of hell, apparently, on it. Look at that cake. That's got to be a fire hazard, right? But what he really wanted was a cake that reminded him of his youth.
Oh, I see that.
Oh, wow. Hadn't seen that one. Woo! Okay, so burning a cross on a cake, that's a whole new level of KKK stuff. Okay, got it.
Pretty popular on
Cake.
CNN, though. You can tell.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, it's 31% if you vote for Biden against Trump. Ooh, wow.
Wow.
Jeez, that's not looking so good.
Well, no, it's saying the difference there is 31% of people that would vote for Biden are voting for him, and 57 are voting just to vote against Trump. Where the people that vote for Trump are actually big Trump supporters.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's so it's just an.
He's the. I guess I have to vote for this guy because he's not Trump candidate.
Yeah.
I think next year we're going to have a lot of people the opposite.
You
I
think?
really do. By this time next year, I think holiday season's going to end. We're going to get into the spring. Inflation's going to go back up again, or it's not going to.
Oh no, this is good. This is still good. He has a much lower percentage of people that actually like him.
That's
as
what
a
I'm saying.
human
I
being.
think it'll be opposite. I think it'll be a lot of people voting for Trump because they don't want to vote for Biden.
Well, okay, I see what you mean.
fingers
Yeah, I think so. I mean, people are already at a point right now where they can't imagine it getting much worse. But Joe Biden, how many birthdays do you think this guy has left? By the way, do me a favor, comment on that because. For him, I feel like that's worse. I feel like at a certain point, and I feel this way personally, I think you should just be done. I would like to not just kind of languish. I've had, grandparents that kind of stayed around and were not the same person. I'm kind of being somewhat tongue-in-cheek, but they kind of stayed around. They weren't the same person that they were over the last couple of years. That's kind of existing, not living. Right now, he just seems like he's existing and making a fool of himself and his family, but I guess, they get to, be in power just a little bit longer. But look.
His family's doing fine.
They are doing
making fools of themselves.
Making a fool of us.
They make...
that too.
Yeah.
No, they don't. They're making fools of the American people right now.
Yes. Kept comfortable on a bed somewhere, and
he should be enjoying
president.
Whatever neurons connecting and firing. That however those things work in your brain, he should be enjoying whatever he has left of that. Not sitting in the White House having his diaper changed and going to bed at 4:00.
No, he should be eating ice cream cones and sitting at Chuck E. Cheese
and mashed potatoes.
What?
Absolutely. Wait, Chuck E. Cheese?
What? Yeah, because he's
how did I end up agreeing with that statement that just came out of your mouth?
It's just the way I say it, baby.
Oh my gosh. You just snuck that right in there. Well, look, hey, thank you so much to all the Mug Club supporters out there. We had so many of you join Mug Club when we did release the Nashville Manifesto, and we really appreciate it. But make sure you join Mug Club. It's the only way that any of this exists. $89 a year. You get the Alex Jones Show. You get the Hodge Twins Uncensored, Nick DiPaolo Show, Off Limits with Brian Callen, where everything is off limits, and Mr. Guns and Gear, plus the Friday Show, plus the Undercover Unit. You get all of those things, so make sure you guys go out and join. And we really, really do appreciate it. 'Tis the season for being thankful, and we're thankful for you. So it's also the season to give. So, maybe do that. So we do have something coming up in here. By the way, releasethemanifesto.com. I'll talk about that a little bit more and give you an update. We're still working on stories related to this right now. I can't say
coming down the line.
Yeah, look, every time I hear somebody go, well, I can't say, make sure you tune in, bro, and like get onto the show, and then they're like, well, you don't really have anything. That's why you couldn't say.
Who are you talking about?
I'm not talking about any person in particular. What I'm saying is that it's done a lot, most notably recently, but it's done a lot, and I don't want you to think that's what we're doing. We're not. We actually have something that, if it's true, and if we can kind of connect all the dots for you guys with our undercover team, will absolutely shock you and probably make you more pissed off about this than you already are, which is hard to do. I understand that, but I really do think so. We'll see if this actually comes together, but we have people that are, honest to God journalists, not like Media Matters, where they actually go out and try to confirm things and not contrive things. So we'll keep you updated on that. But we do have a time of year, and I didn't know this, Lane. Like, I didn't think about this. For some reason, it didn't connect in my brain that I like this time of year for more than just like the holidays. I love Christmas. I love Thanksgiving. I love colder weather, the snow, family, like, the birth of Christ and celebrating. Yeah, dreidels, fine. I don't have any problem with that at all. I love all of it. Not Kwanzaa. We've been very, very clear on that. No Kwanzaa here. No. But I also love that you typically have some great movies that come out this time of year, right? And so that's this season. This week kind of officially kicks it off. I didn't realize that. I just thought it kind of happened, and I just loved it. And then we were talking about this thing, and I'm like, oh, well, that makes a whole lot of sense. But the Napoleon movie is going to premiere, and it talks about the French Revolution and this guy being really short, which is obviously funny. But, we thought we would talk about it for you, and here's our Louder with Crowder Entertainment Minute. Good beat. What do you guys know about Napoleon? That he's short. I know. That's pretty much the only thing people know about Napoleon, and also that he went into, where was it? What's the city he went to in Russia?
It starts with an M.
An M? He didn't go to Moscow.
He was trying.
No, he went south. He went the other way. He went through Ukraine over to like Stalingrad, Leningrad. They keep changing the name. It's one of the grads. He went there and died just like Hitler did in World War II. I don't know. Unless he did try to march on Moscow. Maybe he did. I don't know. I don't know my history.
You just don't be going into
Russia
just kidding.
In
winter.
He went to Russia in winter, and it really didn't work out. And everybody's tried to do it since. But anyway, you're going to find out a little bit more about that, and we're going to watch the entire trailer. What is this, Toolman? 2.5 minutes long?
2.5 minutes.
2.5 minutes. So here is the new Napoleon biopic. Premieres tomorrow. Take a look at the trailer.
Oh, Apple original.
There we go.
No doubt you've seen the chaos in the streets. We must make an example of France.
Joaquin Phoenix is ugly enough for the role. He's a great actor.
What would you do
Hideous.
if this assignment of defense was transferred?
His voice, too.
Yeah. He covers his ears. That's funny. I don't know why.
Brilliant successes.
He was dripped out, though.
I hate your words. All of them.
Drip.
What is this costume you have on?
This is my uniform.
Are you a troll?
I led the French victory at Toulon.
What is your name?
Napoleon.
Has the course of my life just changed?
Riveting.
Napoleon.
Oh, no wonder they don't look the same. Jerk?
But those in power will only see me as a sword.
I suggest you take the throne as a king.
Holding on. Shall we vote?
This vermin has held.
Spoiler: he didn't long live.
No.
It's a great trailer.
It is.
Yeah, it's not bad. I think the tyrant part's what we'll focus on.
You are just a tiny little brute that is nothing without me.
Oh. All of Europe is uniting forces against me.
What's the outcome of this if you don't succeed?
Death for everyone.
Your Majesty, we are discovered. Good.
It's a trap!
I'm the first to admit when I make a mistake.
Very cold.
Wonderful.
I simply never do.
Oh.
That's good.
That's an awesome trailer. That's a fantastic trailer.
Awesome.
All right. Look, I will give it to you. That is a really cool looking trailer. I like it. That quote didn't age well, though. I don't have a problem admitting when I make a mistake. I just never do. Whoops. Apparently there wasn't enough ice for you to sink the enemy into because you guys, it's like one of the worst defeats in history. Like everybody refers to that march. I believe it was a march on Moscow, right?
They made it to Moscow, and that's when they went scorched earth on Moscow and they fled it. So it was abandoned by the time Napoleon got there.
But Napoleon, I think, basically just made he had that thing that dictators do where they think they can never be wrong, and they have nobody that will give them wise counsel and tell them, hey, look, marching on this place in winter when people can just, I don't know, freeze to death or die of disease is probably a bad idea. We can just wait till spring. It's going to be sunnier, a little easier for everybody. And he just chose not to do that. But however, I think if you want to see a short French guy with a chip on his shoulder, you can go and watch Ellen DeGeneres reruns and save the box office prices. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Do me a favor, though, and if you plan on seeing this movie and, just hit the thing. I mean, you may not have the funny sounding mallet, but, do your best impression when you actually do it. So I think we're going to go into a little bit more depth here and kind of give you a bit of history about what's going on here, because a lot of people, when you start talking about wars and you start talking about these kind of iconic figures and revolutions, like we tend to understand our American Revolution. We understand where that came from. We understand how that happened and unfolded. We don't really talk much about France's Revolution or really anything in Europe pre-World War II. It's almost like World War II is the beginning of history for a lot of people in Europe, meaning us thinking about Europe. And we talked about World War I the other day, and we're like, man, most people don't know much about that either. So let's jump into a little bit of this. So Napoleon led France from 1799 to 1815. It was a very tumultuous time in France's, after, kind of following France's Revolution of 1789 and the subsequent kind of quote-unquote reign of terror. But you had a couple of points here, Lane, that you wanted to kind of talk about that kind of encapsulate that time.
Yeah, I mean, you quote unquote, I guess, because there's different periods of when that might have been, but This is the guillotine era. So when you hear the reign of terror and you associate the guillotine and all the executions in France,
the good old days.
That's this time, and they're off with their heads. Robespierre. This is the time that we're talking about. And it kind of is what...
Who's Robespierre? You just said it like everybody knows it.
Well, he would have been kind of the leader of this revolution at its beginning.
Right.
So we're going to learn more about kind of what he did, but it's this that set the path for Napoleon to take power.
Right. And it's important to understand how these things kind of happen throughout history. But this was a very kind of stark contrast between their revolution and our revolution, right? Both of the revolutions were products of the Age of Enlightenment with birthed ideas like classical liberalism, socialism, Marxism. Not the best ideas sometimes, but they're big ideas.
They are ideas.
They are ideas. You can't take that away, but also reforms within Judeo-Christian religions as well, right? So let's start off with the American Revolution. And the kind of the philosophies that undergirded these revolutions. So we have the Declaration of Independence, which famously proclaims this.
That we hold these truths to be self-evident. Sounds corny. Not a joke. Think about it. We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing.
Most of his voters don't know the thing. They don't know the thing now. He added women.
You didn't even have the thing on like a quote you could read. I do. Because I don't want to go, the most important thing, the thing. You got to tell people the thing. Here, I'll tell you the thing. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. This is an important thing, by the way. All men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of the thing, happiness. Right? That's the first time that people had bothered to write that stuff down in the same place and use it as a founding document for a country. And it was just the thing. We'll talk about some of the key points in this, but obviously this is one of the most important things that has ever been written down. You don't want to bumble through it. Now, just, give yourself a little bit of a pass. You can see, by the way, is anybody else surprised at how spry he seemed in that clip? Like his mental faculties weren't quite all there. I understand what you're saying right now, but he had a lot of energy.
That was
2019?
2020.
Or 2020, sorry.
2020. So he's quickly degrading.
Wow, they found
the hockey stick curve that they talk about? His is the age hockey stick curve, and it's just falling off a cliff right now.
Oh, that's what happens when they find your Coke in the West Wing.
Yeah.
That's true.
Take it away from you.
How do you think he was functioning? This is an important document. You don't want to screw around and mess it up. Look, I get it. People make mistakes, but this is a bad one to make. It's like messing up the words to the national anthem. Like if you're a singer and you just do it right through you would just have to make sure you don't mess that one up. If you're ever going to quote, don't mess this quote up. Okay.
How big of an asshole do you have to be in that office and not know that line?
Especially after preparing for the speech.
Yeah.
I can understand forgetting something in a moment, and you're like, man, I know this, and I can't believe that I'm forgetting this right now. I get it. That's not one of those moments, though.
No,
and you're the person that can't do that.
Thomas Jefferson rolling over in his grave.
Exactly. Even if you have to pull it out on a piece of parchment and go, you know what? And read it, that's fine. Just do that. We would have given you a pass. We'd have made fun of you a little bit for having to do that, but we would not be making fun of you the same way that we are now. Okay, so French Revolution.
There are people outside the Roosevelt Hotel in New York City sleeping on the sidewalk that know that preamble.
They do.
The Declaration of Independence. Yeah.
See? You almost did it. You almost did it. And we were going to be making fun of you for years and years to come. But we won't now.
You know the thing.
Because you... Thank you for your thing, Josh.
Thank you for That's what she said.
On second thought... Anyway, French Revolution. Not that thing. The other thing.
Oh, yes.
With the guy in the place and the God thing, right? Okay, so.
What we really need to set up with this is just how diametrically opposed these two ideas are and kind of the two camps that they've created in the world that we're seeing today. That's why we're covering it, because it's just as tangible today as it was when these revolutions were taking place.
It's where all of these, and it's where all of these terrible ideas kind of originate. Not originate, but maybe
where
close
they come together.
they kind of come together and they really start to infect culture and civilization in a way that is incredibly negative. Saying that God created us with rights that are not given to us by man is fantastic, because those are not rights that can ever be taken by man, because they're given to us by God. I have them no matter what. Black, brown, Asian, American, anywhere else. I have those rights no matter what. As a human being, those rights, I possess them. With the rights that are outlined in other important kind of founding documents or declarations, they are rights given to you by the state, which means that they can be taken away on a whim, right? That's the huge difference here and what that will lead to. So French Revolution, Declaration of the Rights of Man and of the Citizen. It talks about liberty, equality, and fraternity. A little bit different, right? So the big difference here is that word equality. Equality is not a part of our revolution. It is not a part of the American idea. Now, you may say, well, you want some equality. No. What I'm talking about is equal outcomes. That's equality, right? You want everybody to have the same outcome in life. You want everybody to have the same kind of end result.
You have to switch it with equity in this situation.
Sorry?
You could just switch it with the word equity. And that's what the French were relaying.
That's where exactly. That's what they're really meaning here, right? We're talking about equal opportunity. We want everybody to have the same footing as a human being that is endowed by their creator with rights. That's a huge, huge difference, right? So on the other hand, when you talk about the French Revolution, they were really getting at, and this is not something that I knew, they were really attacking privilege.
Yes.
And I understand being kind of in the feudal system where your birthright basically determined what your life was going to be like. So if you were born into a high family, then, fantastic, life was going to be much better for you than it was going to be for somebody who was born as a peasant or some kind of serf, right? I get it. But here's the thing. They made a mistake. They made a mistake in their correction, in my opinion, right? So let's just talk about the first part. It says, all men are born equal and free of privilege. That sounds good on the face. Let's imagine that you're right now in a society where birth is more important than, let's say, achievement or skill or anything else that you can contribute to society. You would probably think like, okay, yeah, privilege, let's get rid of that. That's fine. So this is the pendulum swinging back, and it doesn't necessarily work well for everybody. And so here's Napoleon talking about it. So liberty is a necessity felt only by a not very numerous class. So not a lot of people experience liberty. It can therefore be restricted with impunity. Equality, on the other hand, pleases the multitude. That's what I was getting at. The multitudes look at the word equality and go, yeah, I want that. The problem is every time we see a society trying to shoot for equality, it never lifts society. It always suppresses society. It always reduces it to the lowest common denominator, because that's the only way that you can have equality of all outcomes for people, is if you say, hey, I have high performers. So instead of taking people and making sure that they can compete with the high performers and get up to this level of achievement, I need to lower the level of achievement so that everybody kind of equally is mediocre. That's what you see in these societies around the world. And, speaking of mediocre, here's AOC explaining what it means to her today.
Our access and our ability and our guarantee to having a home comes before someone else's privilege to earn a profit.
Oh.
That's entirely derivative of the French thinking at the time.
It is.
The French and the Americans at the time were in very similar situations where the monarchs and the kind of the bourgeoisie, or whatever class you want to refer to them, were living very large, and they're living very by very poor means. They don't have a lot going on. So they look and say, we need to change this. The difference is the French said we need to change by destroying and not really worrying about what comes next. The Americans always knew once they took down the monarch class that there was something else, and that was just as much, they were just as much
a problem.
There was going to be just as much danger in the new state that they created if they weren't to check themselves. They would just become a new monarch class.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And the equality of outcome, it can't, like I said, be achieved by anything other than oppression. But it's not just that. It's top-down government, right? You need a top-down government to be able to achieve that kind of end result. I mean, think about this. Like the fundamental difference between a free market having the ability, with all of its faults, by the way, sometimes the free market takes a little while to self-correct, but it does. That's why we talk about letting businesses fail. We're like, oh, that would be terrible for the banking system. For a little while, but it would actually correct, and for the long run be much better for everybody here, because we're like, oh, that's a really bad way to trade. That's a bad way to do business, and we have to stop doing that. Otherwise, we will go out of business. The market is fine as long as the government doesn't come in and try and correct the issues that naturally should work themselves out. You should have pain. There should be pain when people make mistakes. It's the only way you learn. But when the government comes in and they say they will be the force that takes care of everything, they will be the force that smooths out all of the rough edges and also brings down these billionaires who don't have a right to have the money. I don't understand it. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me, because they're like, oh, well, they have too much money. They didn't get this money by normal means. Okay, well, are you saying they broke the law? Well, no, maybe they didn't break the law, but we'll find a law potentially that they could have broken. We just don't like the fact that they have a lot of money. It's anti-competitive. Why is it anti-competitive? Are they offering an inferior service that nobody wants? No, a lot of people want their service, and it's actually pretty nice to have everything delivered by Amazon anywhere on the planet right now, essentially, if you'd like it. But we just don't like the fact that they're doing such a good job in getting all the business. I don't understand, guys. I don't understand that kind of argument, because it presumes that taking Jeff Bezos as the guy who did Amazon and putting Jeff Bezos as the president of the United States, who's controlling everything that you do and you have no rights, is not the same. Because that's what they want to do. Just be clear, it's different people. So Bezos is going to stay over here and be the Amazon guy, but the equivalent is going to come over here. Maybe not as bright as Bezos, because he actually had to build a business and make a living. The equivalent is going to come over here and say, hey, we know everything to do for you. Let us take care of everything. We're going to have all of the power. We're basically a monopoly in government, just not in business. Because business, ooh, bad, they make a profit. Government, I just steal your money. It's not really called a profit. It's just called taxes. Yeah. Right? That's the equivalent that you don't get to see that as clearly. But that's what it needs. So you get to see this in France's Declaration of the Rights of Man, like we talked about just a second ago. Here, let me just read some quotes here. Social distinctions may be founded only upon the general good. No body nor individual may exercise any authority which does not proceed directly from the nation. Law can only prohibit such actions as are hurtful to society. And you had a point here about Rousseau's general will versus, this would be John Locke.
Yeah, so here's where you really see the main influences of the two revolutions, where the Americans were influenced mostly by John Locke and his preeminent desire to see the rights of the individual upheld, those inalienable rights, life, liberty, and property.
Yeah.
Alien life.
Alien life, bro. You know the thing. Yeah.
The French got most of their inspiration from Rousseau, which was kind of on board with Locke in a lot of ways. But at the end of the day, he really put forward this idea called the general will, which is, yes, those rights need to be protected from government until they violate the general will. Well, all that is the idea that the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few.
Right.
Which in turn becomes your pure democracy, which becomes your mob rule.
Right.
And that's what Locke saw, and that's what the American founders saw. But the French and Rousseau had a totally different idea of how society should operate, and it is the greater good theory.
There's just, Josh, is this something that, like, it feels like this is so obvious. This truth is so obvious that left to our own devices, we're inherently evil and lazy. Those are two things that you're pretty much going to find throughout society. It doesn't mean every person. It doesn't mean every civilization is full of people like that. But typically speaking, and I would make the argument as a Christian that we're all left to our own devices without God. We are all evil. We tend to be selfish. We tend to only look out for ourselves and not seek the common good by sacrificing, which is a different thing. By giving charity to people, that's a different thing than taxes or being forced to do things. But we're typically evil and lazy. And if you just have a society where people don't have the ability to go out and freely participate in commerce, and the government is going to take care of them, it's just going to lead to more. Is that not obvious to everybody?
Yeah, I mean, kind of. I don't know. I think it's hard to tell now because we already know that it's already in our heads. So that knowledge is already there. So it's hard to kind of theorize if it wasn't there.
No, I mean, but now people are still calling for this today. Like, we don't have one example of a utopian kind of paradise that worked. We have countless examples of people trying to set this up. There was a Netflix documentary about one up in like Washington, Oregon, or maybe Idaho. I can't remember exactly where it was. They tried to set up like this guy was supposed to be like a guru, and he set it was wild. Maybe wild was actually in the title of the name.
Country.
Yeah, something like that. It was crazy. And they're like, hey, we're gonna set up this like everybody's equal except for this one spiritual leader who's above everybody, gets to sleep with a lot of ladies. Everybody other than that's equal. Of course. And then they bust in all these people to vote out the towns. Like
that definitely happens. That cult type
cult
thing.
mentality,
what happens
it just doesn't work.
There's always at least one person who's headstrong and willing to fight for the power.
Yeah, you have like a charismatic leader.
Yeah, and then they can just kind of mold the I wouldn't say evil and lazy. I think people are
evil and lazy, Josh.
Lazy. I wouldn't say evil and lazy. I would just say ignorant and manipulative. Manipulatable.
Manipulative. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Like easy to manipulate.
Very Hobbesian, the Leviathan, right? People are lazy, and so that's where the social contract has to come from.
Yeah.
And that's the idea that Locke and Rousseau had that was totally different on what that social contract was. With Locke, it was a social contract with the monarchs or the aristocracy,
right,
that they are supposed to only so far as go in their responsibilities to protect inalienable rights. Where with Rousseau, he thought the social contract was amongst the sovereign or amongst the people. And as soon as one person's individual needs violated that greater group identity, well, they had to be taken out.
Yeah, absolutely. And
freedom.
Freedom didn't exist. Freedom inherently doesn't exist at the end of something like this.
Right, especially if your freedom gets in the way of the prosperity of the many. Right. Now, it's fantastic when you're a part of the many. Because you can just sit there and the government's going to take care of you, or they're going to try to create a system that will take care of you. But it only takes you so far.
That's why a lot of people are in the many.
I know.
Do you see why I have an electoral college now?
Well, yeah. Well, but the welfare system, when people are like, "Oh, nobody likes being on welfare." But do you know how many people are comfortable being on welfare?
Some people
maybe
love
they
it.
don't like it. I don't know. I won't use that word. Some people say that. You say that. I would say they're comfortable with
bus riders.
Yeah. Yeah, but they're comfortable with it. You're giving them just enough to be comfortable. I had a job one time at a country club, and I was poor, very poor at the time, and it was pretty soon after college, after I'd started a business up in Ohio and moved back here. And you were around wealth. You were around wealthy people and nice things, and you worked in a nice place, and occasionally they would give you tickets to games and stuff like that if they couldn't go at the last minute. Like, oh, you want these tickets? Here you go.
Awesome.
You were wealth adjacent, but you were not wealthy. And it sucks you in because it gives you this feeling of actually being where they are and you're not. You're one of them for a while because you develop relationships with people who are very wealthy. And you look up 20 years later and people that still work there for 10, 20, 30 years, making very little money, to be honest, definitely not a high paying job. And you're like, wait a minute, I've had this feeling like I was around it, but I never actually achieved any success. Other than being in that group. And not everybody, if you work at a country club, there's probably people that run it that make a lot of money, but the servers and other people like banquet captains and things like that, they're not making a lot of money. They're just doing that and you're adjacent to it. And that's what I feel like this is like the government gives you just enough to feel like you're okay. Just to feel like you have enough, but you don't ever really actually have enough. And you certainly don't have any pride in your achievement in life because you're living off of someone else. There's no way to look at that and say, I'm fulfilling my purpose, right? So not only is there a huge, kind of a difference in understanding of the revolutions about what you're going to kind of found your country on, the idea that the government is not there to give you rights, but necessarily to make sure that the playing field is somewhat level as best that they can, right? And make sure they don't get in the way of your rights and your ability to go out and pursue happiness, right? And their opportunity really was to say that the government is just going to come in and tell you that, hey, all this privilege that existed over here, it's not going to exist. It's going to exist over here in the government now in a much more consolidated way. And so everybody's going to be slightly better off, actually probably worse off, but don't worry, we'll provide for you. It wasn't just that difference. It was a difference in religion, right? So in the American Revolution, we had Christian origins. You ask me how I know that? I don't know. Let's go back to the thing again and see what it says. Declaration of Independence. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men, ... Yeah, we'll go through that. Are endowed by their creator with certain inalienable rights. Okay, very good. We go with the creator.
I love that.
Fantastic, right?
Yes.
Why do you love that, Jeff?
Because we have a freedom of religion here.
We do.
And you can worship whatever deity or God you want to.
Whatever creator, whether they be fake or real, there's only
one. Yeah. Whether they be fake or real, you have your creator, and you're given unalienable. What is it?
See, it's not just it's a hard phrase.
Unalienable rights.
Unalienable rights.
It also references the laws of nature and of nature's God, and closes by appealing to the supreme judge of the world, noting that signers' reliance on protection of divine providence. They say those kinds of words a lot. Let's contrast that with the French Revolution that sought the removal of religion. In 1790, the civil constitution of clergy was a law passed that, among other things, made the clergy paid employees of the government, required all members of the clergy to swear an oath of loyalty to the nation, and nullified the church's rights as a feudal landowner. Well, I understand that. They want to get some of that land back, and the church owned a lot of it. No, that's a really bad idea. 1793, the law of suspects. They had good names. for things. The law of suspects.
Not their declaration, though. That was.
That one's pretty stupid.
It sounded like off-brand cereal. What is it?
Yeah.
The rights of man and
the citizen. And of the citizen.
Thomas Jefferson helped write that.
Did he?
Yep.
He almost got. You know what? He saved the best for us.
It did.
Let's just put it that way.
Well, it was a sequel.
That's right. You can always go back and correct your mistakes. You're like, I'm going to try it out on you first, France. I didn't quite nail that. So in 1793, the law of suspects that was passed, all priests and all persons protecting them are liable to death on the spot, or, potentially if you have time, maybe you can make it into an event. Oof. Yeah, guillotine. Not so much fun. So, destruction of all crosses, bells, and other external signs of worship, destruction of statues, plaques, and iconography. I almost said it.
What is going on with us today?
From places of worship. I can't do it. Taking down of statues. That sounds a little bit familiar to me. Like, that's the thing that we should be doing, is taking down statues.
I remember that.
It's weird.
BLM take a whole bunch down.
They did, yeah, but don't worry about
for
that.
Equality.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah, exactly. Well, and then another, in 1793, the cult of reason was instituted, and it acted like a church, like congregational services, symbolism, and worship, but they denied the existence of any deity or supernatural forces. And Disney originally had the rights, and we obtained, what their poster of the film was actually going to be. Well, okay.
Looks Netflixy.
Napoleon.
Yeah. I don't think so.
Kathleen Kennedy was heavily involved in that.
Oh my gosh. Well, Josh, you actually were telling me a little story about Napoleon.
Oh yeah,
and his thing.
Yeah, when Napoleon died on that island, Saint Helena or whatever it's called, the coroner cut off his penis in the autopsy.
Did he think he was a woman?
No.
Oh, okay. So different surgery.
No. I think it was just he was taking it for personal reasons, but he.
Did they have taxidermy?
But
yeah, it was.
I don't know. I don't think it's stuffed. I don't think that it's mounted and stuff. But yeah, cut off his penis.
Is this real?
Yeah, this is 100%.
This
yes.
can't be real.
I read it on NPR.
So that must
penis
be true.
Radio.
Napoleon's penis radio? I don't think that's true.
No, yeah, it is true. It is true, and it's been passed from private collection to private collection.
I'm sorry, what?
They cut it off, and then they took it to Europe, and there's a whole thing. They had it on display in New York in 1927.
No.
Yes, it was on display.
Come on.
Yes. And
is that what was responsible for Black Friday? The economy crashes soon after?
They said it looks like a shriveled up something. I can't remember what they called it, but it looks shriveled and small. And
they were like, he was short.
And that's that's the.
They should do that to every tyrant.
They should cut off your member and
anybody that was a tyrant.
Unless you had a hog. I don't want to be like. I don't want Kim Jong Un's giant Korean penis just making us all look at it and defying stereotypes.
Yeah, it's a contradiction of terms there. Giant.
But the rumor is that's where Napoleon complex comes from.
Really?
Well, I made that part up.
Small,
but the rest of it,
and it makes men in their middle ages buy Porsches.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah,
it does.
Makes sense. Okay. Got it. Look, I hope you go. I hope you go and see the movie, not the penis. Go see the movie. I don't know where the penis is. Can somebody do some research and find out where Napoleon's penis actually is?
He's gotta know.
It's like an infinity stone.
Only not.
The infinity bone.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Oh, we just made the French Revolution fun. All right, there we go. So, look, go see the movie. I think it's actually going to be a good movie. I like Joaquin Phoenix. He's
Ridley
a great
Scott's great
actor. Yeah, really. It should be good. We'll see how it goes. But just remember this. And I know, look, we got a little wonky on this on purpose because most of you guys don't understand the French Revolution and the American Revolution and how they were so diametrically opposed in the way of thinking. American Revolution, rights given by God, not man, personal liberty, more important than equal outcomes, and they embraced Judeo-Christian values, and you see the natural results of that. French Revolution, rights flow down from government, equality of outcome is more important than personal liberty, and anti-religion in favor of the state and government. And you have seen the results of that. They build the Maginot Line, and then, Hitler just goes around. They're idiots. I think it's easy to see which one of these is the best, and it's not even close. Toolman, what do you got?
Some research chimed in and said that Napoleon's penis is in the armpit of North America, a.k.a. New Jersey.
Jersey has Napoleon's penis?
Chris Christie's sitting on Napoleon's penis.
Listen, I know we got to get out of here super quick on this segment, but the thing to know about the French Revolution and revolutions like this, they're unwinnable. You have to keep fighting because there always needs to be a target. And you're always going to end up losing no matter how pure you are. Robespierre started this with his reign of terror. He eventually got his head cut off by the guillotine.
Yeah.
You see this on the left. Eventually, you're not going to be pure enough for the ideological cause. You're going to be Kevin Hart.
Even if you're popular at the time,
it
with
doesn't
them,
matter.
It doesn't matter. Eventually,
you are never going to win this kind of ideological battle.
Absolutely.
There will always be pink hair out there.
There will.
To keep you in line.
There'll be a pinker head of hair out there.
There's always a pinker head of hair.
Yeah. Somebody can always put their penis on display in Jersey too.
Ooh. Write that one down. 49 minutes.
Posthumously, not at the time. Anyway, whatever. So hey guys, look, it's been a couple of weeks since we released the 3 pages of the Nashville Manifesto. One of the biggest, if not the biggest, story of the year. Still, no action has been taken by the police department yet to release the rest. We're pushing as hard as we can, and this is not something where we're doing this for no reason. We actually want to apply as much pressure as we can to make them release this information. So we are collecting signatures to demand that release of the Nashville Covenant School Shooters Manifesto. So go to releasethemanifesto.com right now. Do it for me. Just enter in your email address, your first name, last name, sign that petition so that we can literally walk in and slap these things down repeatedly, because there's a lot of sheets of paper because we have so many people doing that. Many people have signed up right now, and we want you to do that again. Go to releasethemanifesto.com and just sign it for us. And look, Mug Club Undercover, we're already investigating some explosive leads that I talked to you about off the top. We've got tons and tons of tips coming in from all corners of society. It's not just about this particular case that we're talking about, but there are so many things coming in. So if you have a tip, send it to lwctips@protonmail.com. We will get our team on it, and we will get to the bottom of it. Okay.
To be clear, these are investigative journalism tips.
Yes.
Not Napoleon tips.
Not those tips.
Okay.
Just the real tips.
Okay.
If you want those tips, go to New Jersey.
Yeah, Jersey. I want to know where in Jersey this is. I want to send some business their way. Like, look, we want to go look at Napoleon's a smaller penis. I don't know why I did Italian. That's all I really know. He does. It's in his personal collection. Why would you keep a man's penis anyway?
I mean, if somebody was like, hey, the Mona Lisa, it's already bought, but I got this.
I got Napoleon's penis.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make any sense.
$15 and
a
pizza.
Hey, did you hear that Elon Musk is being accused of being an anti-Semite?
I heard he was an anti-Semite.
Oh, no, that's true. According to media, Elon Musk, the worst anti-Semite we've ever known, right? But here's the thing. He just dropped an incredible, massive lawsuit against Media Matters. And I really do feel like this is the tide turning moment. I had you guys comment on it a minute ago, because I think what happened is they finally overreached. There's actual damages that you can attach to this. It's not just reputational damages, which are much, much harder to put a figure on. But Elon Musk just exposed something about Media Matters that I think we've all known. They're pieces of crap, right? Yes. We've known that for a long time. We've talked about them on the show. But he just exposed something that a lot of people are jumping on, including the guys over at Truth, Donald Trump's kind of social media company. They filed a lawsuit with against 20 different media companies. But also Ken Paxton, the Attorney General for Texas, he's jumped on this, and I think you'll see more people start to jump on this. I know Rumble has started to jump on this as well, and it's not just about people saying bad things about you. That's not the issue. If they're reporting accurately, fine, you have to deal with it. If it's out of context, or if it's an outright lie and they know it, or if it's contrived, that's a different story. But before we get to all of that, let's just take a look at a little bit of how we got here.
The less than perfect launch comes amid a weekend of controversy for SpaceX founder and CEO Elon Musk, with advertisers fleeing his platform X, formerly known as Twitter, after Musk replied to an anti-Semitic tweet that accused Jews of hating white people.
He retweeted a post, a highly offensive anti-Semitic post.
Tech billionaire Elon Musk is under fire for spreading anti-Semitic and racist hate.
As for Elon Musk, well, he's under fire for stoking, specifically right now, anti-Semitism.
Elon Musk is taking fire for agreeing with anti-Semitic posts on X.
Elon Musk openly endorsed this anti-Semitic conspiracy theory.
Ex-owner Elon Musk is now under fire for agreeing
agreeing with anti-Semitic comments.
I love the soundboard there. Thank you very much. Jake Tapper is pushing, and I have a lot of issues with Tapper. Maybe we'll do a what a piece of poop. I can't
make a note. That's good.
Did we already do one on him?
On Jake? I don't think we did. If we did, I don't remember it. Maybe we did.
Yeah.
It's possible. But anyway, he discussed white replacement theory on Sunday. I actually listened to this live on Sunday, unfortunately. And the replacement theory basically alleges that left-wing elites are trying to replace whites in Western nations with non-white population.
Like they've said they are trying to do?
Well, other than that. But here, look, so you have an understanding of what that is. Here's the actual series of tweets that led to these accusations, right? So on November 15th, Breaking Bot, I don't know, BAHT, posted on X, okay, Jewish communities have been pushing the exact kind of dialectical hatred against whites that they claim to want to stop using, or people to stop using against them. I'm deeply disinterested in giving the tiniest crap now about Western Jewish populations, coming to the disturbing realization that those hordes of minorities that support flooding their country don't exactly like them too much. You want truth said to your face, there it is. And so, okay, that's out there a little bit, right? He's basically saying that these people don't give a crap about what you think. Now, do me a favor and go into some of these European countries that have had uncontrolled, unmitigated immigration from wherever, whenever, whyever, and see if they would say, hey, this maybe was a bad idea for a lot of different reasons. They don't care about our culture. They don't care about who we are. They just want to come in and do their thing, right? So here's what Elon said. You have said the actual truth. Now, if he'd have left it at that, people can have an argument and say, what did Elon mean by that? What exactly was the truth there? I don't like what he said. Okay, but Elon didn't just say that, right? But it did spur countless headlines pushing the narrative that Musk is now an anti-Semite because he's agreeing with this whole kind of replacement theory ideology, and that's an anti-Semitic thing to say. But buried in these articles are when Elon Musk himself gave the context and furthered the conversation, right? So here's that same conversation. The ADL unjustly attacks the majority of the West, despite the majority of the West supporting the Jewish people of Israel. Really quickly, just pause right there. The ADL, he specifically calls out a group that he's talking about, and then talks a little bit more about it later. This is because they cannot, by their own tenets, criticize the minority groups who are their primary threat. It is not right and needs to stop. You write that this does not extend to all Jewish communities, but it is also not limited to the ADL. So he's saying it's not all communities, but it's not just limited to the ADL. He's pointed out that the ADL is one of the biggest problems, right? And at the risk of being repetitive, I am deeply offended by ADL's messaging and any other groups who push de facto anti-white racism or anti-Asian racism or racism of any kind. I'm sick of it. Stop now. That sounds a whole lot like he's not for racism.
That's what you got from that?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, it almost seems like there's context, right? But
yeah,
unfortunately for him, the latest SpaceX launch didn't really help his case. I missed that in the original launch. I had no idea.
My feed cut out before that.
Yeah, mine too. Gosh, how do you do the smoke rings like that? That's pretty impressive.
Man, he trolls on a whole new level.
He does. I don't agree with it, but if you just read the articles or listened to the headlines written about him, you'd think, man, that's par for the course. I mean, Elon's pretty anti-Semitic. He probably did that.
I like how a few days ago, everyone on Twitter was giving him crap because he tweeted out that if you say from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, you'll get shadow banned or whatever.
Yeah.
Obviously being pro-Israel, and then immediately anti-Semitic Elon Musk. It's like, how can he be?
That's a direct call for genocide, the first one. Against who? The Jews.
The
right.
anti-Semite doesn't like that.
Stupid.
Yeah, this is completely ginned up. But if all you do is check in on CNN or MSNBC or some other, why would you do that? But a lot of people do that. They have to catch flights, so they see CNN on in the airport. If you catch those guys, you're like, oh, Elon's anti-Semitic. Well, that's a shame. And they don't actually address the substance of what he said. They just make the claim because he tweeted this about this spot that was anti-Semitic. And it's like, oh, hold on. There's so much that you have to get into. And look, he's right. It's not just the ADL. But do me a favor, comment. Do you think Elon, what he said, do you think that rises to the level of anti-Semitism? Let me know. I think I know what the answer is going to be. But you know what? Just in case you guys were worried about it, he was defended by prominent Jewish voices on the matter, including Ben Shapiro and Jonathan Greenblatt from the ADL. Let me show you what he wrote. This is an important and welcome move by Elon Musk. I appreciate this leadership in fighting hate. That, I think, was in response to the From the River to the Sea comment that Elon made, saying
Which
that was
after this controversy already started.
Yes. Yeah. So the ADL apparently can kind of see through this, but Jake Tapper, intrepid journalist, can't? Is that what I'm to understand? Mm-hmm. That every other journalist out there who's covering this and saying Elon Musk is anti-Semitic?
This same media machine that keeps pushing for a ceasefire, that keeps calling the Israelis war criminals, that keeps saying Netanyahu is trying to commit genocide. These people can go right to hell because they don't have they have no principles, and they're just trying to stoke for clicks. We know this. They're done. Their days are numbered.
They are.
Well, didn't they also say everything was safe and effective and a danger to our democracy? And they all have a script. They all get past the script, and they repeat the script, and that was the script. It's going to bite them in the ass, I think.
It really is, and unfortunately, that's what we're seeing right now. Their writers put a narrative out there, whoever controls, the producers, whoever's controlling what goes out, and apparently Jake Tapper doesn't have time to do his own research. Maybe he's too important.
No, none of those talking heads do any research.
They don't look at this and go, wait a minute.
Nope.
Elon Musk... They just go, I don't like Elon Musk. Fantastic. Let's run with he's an anti-Semite, because who's going to check us? Because we're the media. We said it, so it must be true. Well, this actually, after this had, during, kind of in the midst of this fallout from his tweet, Media Matters, and this is what really gets me excited, talking about the demise of Media Matters. They posted an article with this headline. Basically, just tying the knot themselves. As Musk endorses anti-Semitic conspiracy theory, X has been placing ads for Apple, Bravo, IBM, Oracle, and Xfinity.
Why is Bravo
next to pro-Nazi content? I love the Bravo one. That is hilarious.
Bravo.
None of you would exist in Nazi Germany. Come on. Bravo? That's mostly
the
homosexual
reality?
stuff. Yeah.
It's like all the gay reality.
A lot of gay reality
gay
stuff. Yeah.
Oh,
Queer Eye for the Straight Guy, all that junk that's on there. You remember that?
It's the gay channel.
It is.
It is, yeah.
Is that the Keeping Up with the Kardashians channel?
I don't think. Is it?
I don't know.
That's pretty gay too.
No, don't care.
So that's what he said.
Bruce Jenner's a man.
Now, hey, look, if you're IBM, do you want your ad placed next to pro-Nazi content? No, of course not. And so responding to this article, a lot of these companies, they pulled advertising from X, right? Apple, Disney, Paramount, Warner Brothers, IBM. And in a public statement, IBM even noted IBM has zero tolerance for hate speech and discrimination, and we have immediately suspended all advertising on X while we investigate this entirely unacceptable situation. That's interesting.
I didn't know they pulled sponsorships because of this article.
Yeah, it's because of this. Now, it's not because Elon Musk put out a tweet that they said was anti-Semitic. No.
They didn't look.
They're totally fine with that, most likely.
They read the article.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Unfortunately, what happens is they see this article and go, "We can't have our ads next to Nazi content."
Who reads Media Matters?
Nobody does. Somebody picked it up and put it out. Yeah, exactly. So Musk actually responds and completely destroys or lays the foundation for the destruction of Media Matters. On November 18th, Musk, what in his words said he was going thermonuclear, and he dropped a laundry list of claims exposing their practices, being Media Matters. To manipulate the public advertisers, Media Matters created an alternate account and curated posts and advertising appearing on the account's timeline to misinform advertisers about the placement of their posts. Once they curated this feed, they repeatedly refreshed their timelines to find a rare instance of ads serving next to content they chose to follow. Our logs indicate that they forced a scenario resulting in 13 times the number of ads served compared to the median ads served to an X user. Of the 5.5 billion ad impressions on X that day, less than 50 total ad impressions were served against all of the organic content featured in the Media Matters article. What he is basically saying is that Media Matters had accounts that they used that were over 30 days old, because if you don't have an account that's over 30 days old, you don't get ads, right? Mm-hmm. None of the ads get pushed to it. So they proactively used accounts that they would get ads on, right? They then followed only the advertisers and extreme content only. And then went to see if those ads would show up in their timeline next to the kind of quote unquote extreme content. Maybe some of it was extreme. I'm not even really addressing that. I'm addressing what they did. They couldn't get the result they wanted. And so they constantly refresh to get those ads to post next to these people, right? Saying terrible things. So they go, see, IBM, you're right next to this person who hates Jews, right? You can't be next to this comment because that's bad. And so you should pull your advertising from X because they're serving up your ads. It was contrived. 2 cases that they showed. One case, one human being on the planet saw that ad next to that content. Guess who it was? It was the Media Matters guy.
They did it with their Media Matters.
It was the only person that saw the ad on the entire planet. Right? In another case, 2 people saw the ad. One was the Media Matters guy, and one, they don't even know who it was. They don't know if it was just a random regular user, if it was another Media Matters person that saw it. So they basically lied about this. And look, they actually, so Michael Schellenberger, he was one of the guys that did the Twitter files, I believe. He actually, they tried to corroborate these findings and could not, right? Meaning they couldn't replicate what was happening in the Media Matters article. So Michael's actually saying, yeah, Elon's right. Everything he just said is correct. We couldn't replicate this scenario in real life, but if we tried to kind of, contrive it, Maybelline. So Maybelline. I almost did the Maybelline thing with maybe. See what I did there?
All day.
See what happens?
Real quick, from research and something we talked about earlier, of those companies that left, IBM, right, pulled advertising for Musk's anti-Semitism, which is awfully funny. Because IBM during the Holocaust actually provided the Nazis with punch cards to keep track of how many Jews were going to the concentration camps from the ghetto.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, it's like Hugo Boss saying, not by our ads, no.
IBM's like, we don't want to bring up this again.
Yeah. Let's
get off Twitter.
Absolutely.
Consequently, Coca-Cola and Adidas still very heavily sponsored.
Very heavily. Ford also. Yeah, very invested. Weird. So November 20th, that would be yesterday afternoon or so after the show, Musk officially dropped a lawsuit against Media Matters for the behavior alleged above. And so here's what the suit says. Media Matters knowingly and maliciously manufactured side-by-side images depicting ads next to racist posts as if they were a typical X experience. 100% of the accounts Media Matters followed to generate the side-by-side images were either fringe accounts or large national brands, like I was talking about. Even still, they had to engage in excessive scrolling and refreshing to force that situation to generate the ads next to the content. No authentic, so this is the different part for me that I didn't have. No authentic user of X has seen any of the pairings Media Matters ignorant or inorganically generated, right? Like they're saying, you can't find this in nature on our site. Doesn't happen, right? So that was a huge shoe to drop because Media Matters just did something to try to damage that company, to damage the brand, to try to make advertisers flee, to try to hurt Elon Musk. Why? Because they hate free speech. That's why. Not because there's hate speech on the site. They hate Elon Musk, that he's successful and that he's trying to keep X as a place where people can actually speak their mind for the most part. There's still problems that I have with X, and we'll get to those here in just a minute. But on November 20th as well, Texas AG Ken Paxton opens up an investigation into Media Matters manipulation, and in response to Musk tweeted, fraud has both civil and criminal penalties. Which is fantastic because Elon Musk is basically just doubling down, but it's not just Elon Musk. Our very own Rumble CEO, Chris Pavlovsky, is also calling out Media Matters for fraudulent practices. Let me read one of his statements. I can also confirm that Media Matters has purposefully misrepresented Rumble. Media Matters claimed that ads for Netflix on Rumble had been placed on videos that violated their content policies. However, before publication of that Media Matters article, there had been 0 page views of that video. Nobody had seen it. Nobody. This means that the Media Matters activist who took the screenshot was the first human being to actually view the Netflix ad. Though their story left the false impression that it was a widespread problem. It got even spicier because Donald Trump starts to weigh in as well yesterday. Truth Social is suing 20 media companies for defamation. Look, this is huge. You've got massive companies now that are free speech advocates at the very least, even if imperfect in X's case. But you've got Truth and you've got Rumble coming out and saying, hey, we've been targeted as well. This is not just like shadow banning where you can't prove it. This is people running hit pieces on us, lying, manipulating results in an effort to try to drive our advertisers away. And it's funny that kind of stuff should happen. I mean, we've actually been on that end of media matters as well, and they've come after us and they've targeted us, but they're not. I mean, they target us and they think they're right. They're not always wrong.
I don't typically like addressing media matters because you have a bunch of conservatives who their whole show turns into a back and forth.
Right. Yeah.
I really just find them incredibly entertaining, and the fact that we know they have a Mug Club membership.
It's so out of touch.
They support the show.
They do.
Support the show.
They clip our videos. It's great advertising.
It's ironic that they go after to try and boycott sponsors, but they pay for a membership. The headline reads, on YouTube, Steven Crowder said, I would like to send out gangs of retarded people to lynch pedophiles.
I mean,
did he?
What's wrong with
that? I mean, what was wrong with that?
I don't.
Retarded people deserve to have a gang of friends too.
It's a job.
And pedophiles should die. What's the problem?
Yes, it sounds like a win-win to me.
Yes, give these guys jobs.
They
pay
thought
them
that was a
badge.
hit piece, and I'm like,
that was a puff piece.
Thank you.
Puff piece.
Media matters. I'm sorry, I was wrong. No, I'm not wrong. You guys are pieces of crap. And look, this happens to us and other people so often. We actually have our own stinger made for them.
Should have given him the double, though.
I couldn't do it. I can't.
With these clowns, though, the Truth stuff, the X stuff, the Rumble stuff, that's obviously all fantastic. But I think the AG is actually getting involved here. Is
huge.
What's really exciting.
It's huge because they can affect a lot of change, right? And it's a shot across the bow. It's not just about media matters. Like when they started with $2 million in seed money from MoveOn.org and the New Democratic Network. They also received $1 million from George Soros in 2010.
I wonder what their motivations were.
Yeah, I wonder what their motivations could be. But look, media matters is not the issue. They love nothing more than right now people are actually talking about their existence because most people don't know they exist or care that they exist. Rightfully so. I get it. What we need to see, though, is media held accountable when they actively try and damage a company. And they do it, I don't know, in a and all of the people who have joined us for $89 a year to subscribe.
Yep.
And
like Media Matters.
Yeah, like Media Matters. Thank you for your subscription and your support. We really appreciate it. I know you broke your mug, and no, I'm not sending you a new one. No. By the way, if you did break your mug, we will have the opportunity we'll have a new page set up for you to be able to sign up to get a replacement mug.
Yeah. Or if you haven't gotten your mug.
We've got the new guys. By the way, the truck, you can win the Raptor and cash. These guys, they're fantastic. They're helping us get everybody caught up so that the turnaround time going forward before your mug is shipped should be down to days, if not maybe a week before it's shipped. That's a high bar. I get it. If you use a promo code, you have to wait until you actually pay, right? If you get a free month or something like that, then it gets out there. But look, the only way that we can survive these attacks is because you have said, hey, we want this content. We've gone a little long today. That was my fault. But you like this content, and Mug Club, you're not going to get shortchanged. We're going to do Chat Tuesday today because Thursday we won't have a show. We're actually have an extra segment here where I talk about things that I certainly can't talk about here on YouTube. Rumble's totally fine with it. They're down with it, but the other guys on YouTube, they're not. But this is what we have to do. We have to support content that we like, not just by going and watching, but by getting involved. And if it's this show, fantastic. Mug Club is the way that you do that. We sell merch as well. That supports what we do, right? Great. If it's some other show and there's another way to support them, fantastic. Do it. Do it with your clicks as well, but do it with actually putting money down on things that you believe in. I'm not saying go and give money to every single cause out there because there are a lot of worthy causes that maybe you like. Go find the people that absolutely 100% believe the way that you believe and are willing to do something with it. Not just say it, but actually try to get things done to affect change and support them. That is absolutely the way that we can do this. Josh, you're going to be doing a free show in Tacoma.
Tomorrow at Tacoma Comedy Club.
Tomorrow.
Thanksgiving Eve comedy show. It's me.
Free with mashed potatoes. If you bring mashed potatoes, you get in free to see Josh.
Yes, that's the only way. That's the only way.
All right.
Don't you dare bring me green beans. I swear you'll be kicked out of the city.
Listen, we'll talk about some green beans in just a second because green beans are fantastic. But look, thank you very much for joining us. We hope you all have a wonderful and happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy some time with family and friends. If you go out for Black Friday, make sure you're not the one person that gets killed on Black Friday because we will probably end up making fun of you unknowingly. It's not our fault. We didn't know it was you. Stay safe. YouTube, I don't care about you. Piss off. We're coming.